Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How are aunties and uncles and everybody else? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of RAERAEs Review, where I will be discussing Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 9, Episode 6. Did you watch it? Child, this grown folks is just something, ain't it? You know, I'm starting to see folks in a little different light here. Some of them the same dark light. But yeah, things is changing. I mean, folks is changing their attitudes about things, and it's so obvious. Listen, I ain't on nobody hate train. I don't follow nobody blindly. I'm just me, okay? And we the aunties and uncles over here. So we don't get involved in no stuff back and forth, especially nothing litigious. That's what we don't do, okay? But yeah, before I get into this episode, and it's going to be a little lengthy review, maybe about 40 minutes. I'm just saying, because I had a lot of notes. Who knows? It may not be a lot. But anyway, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share it. Well, I'm on my way to 1,000 subscribers. So, of course, that subscribe button and that like button helps out with that. Also, the share, because once I'm in more spaces and places, folks will check me out and maybe want to tag on with that subscribe button. So I do appreciate the love. Yes, yes, yes. Now, Love and Marriage Huntsville, it is, changed so much since season 1. We got groups of folks and we got cliques and folks is clicking out and, really, coming for folks' heads and carrying on. It's something out there. Okay, so pretty much last episode, right? There was at the park, Destiny's Field Day, and it was getting really rough between Martell and Marsau. That continued, child. So pretty much, there's a lot of back and forth, right? So Martell still ain't showing his proof, child. He still got the phone in his hand. He put it in his pocket. The Scotts are still asking for proof. Even Kimmi started to chime in. I was like, listen, you said it wasn't nothing last time. Now you're saying it's something this time. Which one is it? The Fletchers is quiet as a church mouse, including Lance, whatever his last name is. Destiny's just all up in arms because she figured she didn't think it would be this way when she started asking questions. Because, the question started with Martell, stemming from the conversation he and Destiny had at her storage facility. And, pretty much Destiny wanted to play around, on the field, get some, adrenaline pumping, which may not have been a good idea. But, but the questions part, knowing that Martell had an issue with Marsau talking about him in interviews and not shedding any positivity towards Martell's way, Martell was feeling kind of way. Instead, Martell didn't even approach Marsau on the phone or even in person about it. He just let it fester. So again, Destiny thought it would be a good idea, to let it all out on the field. But it didn't turn out that way. And it's not Destiny's fault, despite what Latisha said in her confessional, saying that, blaming Destiny for starting it. No, she didn't start the mess. Your husband and Martell started the mess, going back and forth. That's who the blame was. Like Kimmi said, when Kimmi was talking to Marsau after all that debacle happened, she said, pretty much in her confession, it was both Martell and Marsau ruining the day. Things could have been done a lot better, more mature, but both of them, let things go and didn't handle things appropriately. So let me get on back to my notes, child. Now, what was trifling was Martell said Tisha was cheating. Tisha was like, that was in college. Oh my God. Martell said Marsau effed right after him. So, I guess, ooh, child. I hope a condom was used. I hope they didn't share the, ooh, child. I listen, hey, to each his own. I'm just like, ooh, child, right after. Listen, I believe cheating happened with the 3 core husbands. We all know that ATL trip that it was going down then. We just, only have really 2 confirmed, but really 3, but really 2 have been acknowledged as confirmed, by the wives. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, so then Martell got real indignant and told Tisha that she really married down, and said how Marsau was really ugly, still is, really fat, still kind of is, teeth messed up. Your teeth was messed up too, Martell. I remember that picture. I'm just saying, you ain't really had you ain't really look like you look now like you did then. So let's pull up that picture of you. Everybody came up, as they got older, wanted to fix things about themselves. Hey, I did too. I'm just saying, if you got the funds, you gonna, fix yourself up. Whatever fixing yourself up means. I'm just saying. So what? And they still together. And that's why you mad. And you all broke apart, trying to find peace, trying to pass an open book test. Child, if I ain't on nobody's side. I'm just telling you how I see it. Yeah, but child, he just pretty much said Tisha is stuck. And Tisha said Destiny, like I said, Destiny started with the questions. No. Now, one thing Kimmi did say to Martell, to Marsau, was that he should have protected Tisha more. Even though Tisha was catching strays, we didn't really hear too many the strays part that Martell was saying about Latisha. We just heard him say that she was cheating. And Latisha confirmed that it was during college, not during their marriage or whatever. So, child, whatever that means. Okay, it is what it is. Tisha confirmed she was cheating during college. Okay, whoop de bam. 19 years old? I ain't even cheating. Child. Anyway, what else? Oh yeah, Kimmi telling Marsau that the disrespect of yelling in Tisha's face and just going off on her in that way, she should have been protected more. Then Marsau said, well, that's why I told her, to go home and go get in the car. No. That went on for a long time, Marsau. The first time he did it is when you should have jumped up in his face and said, do not, and you will not moving forward. That's what you should have did, but it kept going. Now, I saw plenty of 3 or 4 different times that Martell jumped in her face, yelling and screaming and carrying on and addressing her inappropriate. Well, the first inappropriate thing he addressed was when they all arrived, and he mentioned how who was that in that pink from across the, as he was pulling up. That was the first thing disrespectful, and he said it because he was trying to start something with you, Marsau, but you just let it slide. See, that's what you get. I always say when it happened, in the midst of it, is when you get with it at the time. Just like we do with kids. If you show out in the grocery store, I'ma show out with you. Remember that? Wherever you show out is where I'ma show out too. So don't think, I know everybody on that field and heard that line before. That's just how we do. Well, these newfangled parents now are probably scared of Popo, but we wasn't scared. And mine is 26, so I'm just telling you right now. I said it because it was said to me. And I straightened up and flew right. I didn't touch, look, remember, don't ask for nothing, don't look at nothing, and don't touch nothing, especially don't touch nothing in the stuff. I said that to mine too. And don't hit the back of my heel with that cart or it's on and popping. Talking about accident. Yeah, I'm sure you accident. Anyway, back to this review. Yeah, so Kimmi just got on Marsau about, all that disrespect that Martell was giving Latisha, besides what he was saying, but including that. But just the fact of him all up in her face, yelling and screaming and carrying on. I don't appreciate it either. I don't even know them. So at the end of all that, right, he still ain't showed their receipt. Maurice pretty much said in his confessional about the event, Martell don't have the restraint to hold those receipts for 6 years or however long he's been holding them. Just saying. Now, 6 years ago, it was 2018. When was the ATL trip? 2015? I don't know. Whatever receipts he got, child, it ain't pretty much as long as his show been on. And I believe him. I mean, if you're gonna show the receipt, if you're gonna listen, don't pull out the gun unless you're gonna shoot. Everybody know that rule. Just saying. So at the end of all the fighting and carrying on, everybody going to their respective vehicles, everybody leaving and carrying on. Lance escorts Destiny. They leave together. It was just a shit show. Martell gonna make a comment to where we heard, now it could have been said before, but they showed it as he was driving off, talking about take me to court if he lying. Now Martell, if you listen and watch and listen, if anybody know him, have him listen to this review. And this is no shade when I say this. Okay, Martell, you listening? You don't need to go to court no more for nothing else. You got enough court. You heard me? You got enough court cases and dates to tie you over until you hit 50. You don't need no more coat. Moving on. So now we see Latisha at the jewelry store. So now she feels more inclined to have Marsau wear a wedding ring. Are y'all sitting down for this part? Child, it never ceases to amaze me just how ridiculous. I'm trying to stop saying stupid and dumb when it comes to Latisha. But I really don't want to disrespect her in that way, because I know it's just certain. See, because I'm Auntie Ray Ray, okay? Because I'm Auntie Ray Ray, sometimes we just gonna tell it like a TI is. Stop being dumb for your mate. There is no reason why he ain't wearing a wedding ring, especially after that picture of his back that you was crying about in the car, needing explanation, and the fact that he and Chris Fletcher was not together that night, the night the back picture was taken, and that Chris Fletcher adamantly denounced that he was with him that night. Listen, Latisha, girl. Now you want to make him wear red. Who paying for the wedding ring? You probably is. Are y'all sitting? But are y'all the part y'all need to be sitting down for? Listen to this, y'all. I hope you're sitting down for this. Okay, so Marsau is giving all the bullshit excuses as to not wearing his wedding ring. He actually said, he actually said that the ring is a sign of obedience and it doesn't mean much to him to wear it. See, a lie don't care who tell it. And a guilty person will always display their guilt. A no good person will always let you know how no good they is. So now all of a sudden Tisha want to act like she, making him do something like wearing a wedding ring, like, like now was the time, right? Okay. So pretty much because now just listen to me. Listen. So from what he's saying, from what he believes as his mantra, that the wedding ring is a sign of obedience. So pretty much Latisha is obeying and he's not. It means a lot to her for to be married, but for him it don't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Y'all hear that? Don't that mean the same thing? Don't it? We moving on from this because I ain't got time. I may say something that I only say something I don't even want to say no more. Okay, so next we see Melody. She invites Latisha out to lunch, and Melody is checking the temperature of everybody who was on the trip. First, she kind of met with Kimmi with the last episode, and almost got read for filth. Now, look, did y'all see the did y'all see what's gonna happen next week? It looked like Kimmy's gonna read her for filth for real this time, behind her husband, child. Let me tell you. So yeah, behind this conversation here. Okay. So Melody invites Tisha to lunch. Melody clowns the whole invite. Wait, what did I say? Melody clowns the invite for the field day that Latisha mentioned because what's her name, Destiny and Kimmi invited her, but somehow she didn't get it. But Melody was clowning the invite, talking about and referencing how immature and childish it was because her last field day was when she was in kindergarten or something like that. And every time Melody is talking like, that's when she is ticked off to the most ticked it off is, and she is feeling away. I've noticed that about her. She did that when she was going back, when she was talking to Ariane on her live behind some things Ariane said, talking about Martell, behind some things he was doing years ago, or and other folks too that she then went off on on her lives and carrying on. Whenever she gets that, in the midst of the conversation, doing all stuff like that, that's when she's really trying to emphasize her disgust. It's all good. Everybody got some shit with them. Don't even trip. I ain't tripping off of that. But I thought it was real childish and ridiculous for her to, reference Destiny being childish when it ain't like they playing Duck Duck Goose like they did on Beverly Hills because of Kathy Hilton, child. Oh, y'all, I reviewed that too. Y'all go ahead and look that up. It was so funny this week. Please go back and watch. Anyway, so Latisha's defending Maurice heavily because Melody is really going in on Maurice and his DUI situation, specifically his behavior after the DUI, where he went back to the so-called scene of the crime at the black bar, whatever, or wherever he was, and everybody yelling out "Free Reese," and in my opinion, I thought that was wrong to do. You're mimicking the law. You are an attorney, and pretty much I would not have acted in that manner. Considering the charges. I mean, he was actually arrested. It wasn't like he was just held, or he may have gotten a citation, or maybe he was told to sleep it off. I mean, even then, the fact that you were caught in a situation regarding being under the influence of a substance, particularly possibly alcohol, I would not be out within 24 hours, with a drink in my hand and acting a doggone fool. I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. That part, I kind of agree with Melody on, but not all, because she's going in and in, child. So she was just disrespectfully talking about if he ever come with me with any more MLK speeches, I'm just tell him about himself and yada yada yada. I'm like, my goodness. She just going on and on and on. And Latisha is defending him as if she was Kimmi. But that's her brother-in-law, you know. And pretty much Latisha did not appreciate it at all. Poor Latisha having to defend her brother-in-law. Then Melody pretty much insinuates that as a wife, it must be really hard for Kimmi to have to endure all this embarrassment like she did with her ex. Girl, are you sitting down for this part? Then Melody says, and did you know it's the red lipstick he had on in his mugshot? What? Red lipstick, child in production gonna put the mugshot and go in real close to try and Latisha was like, oh, don't do that. Nah, don't do it. Listen. Wait till Kimmi get a load of this. I can't wait for next week. I wish it was next week already. It's a wrap, child. OMG. I can't wait for next week. Oh, Lord, 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 Lord. So anyway, in the middle of all that, Latisha's like, okay, well, it's time for me to go. She hugs her and walks out with the food that, you know, that was ordered. I don't even think she ate anything. She just put the top on and left. I gave her a hug and kiss and left. Child, Melody. Child. That was funny. Next, we got Destiny meeting with Martell. Now, this was funny because they're going back and forth because simultaneously they got Marsau meeting up with, well, actually, Chris Fletcher meeting up with Marsau. So some go back and forth. You know how production do, playing one scene off of the other. And I'm going to tell it just like I saw it. So Destiny meets up with Martell. Martell blames Marsau and pretty much says, well, I kind of owe you an apology. Kind of. Anyway, he said he kind of owes her an apology and kind of apologizes, child. And then he asked about why did she question him, like I mentioned before. Destiny said because of what he mentioned at her storage facility, you know. Then again, like I said, Chris is checking on Marsau at work, both checking each other's business, maybe collaborating client-wise. Chris is closing or moving his office to North Huntsville, where Marsau does all of his, where Marsau is doing his business, and also expanding with some more agents and carrying on. And he's looking to retire, saying that he's pretty much put in his time and he's ready to put his feet up. I know that's right. When you're ready, you're ready. And, you know, then he mentions why it went so bad with Martell. Then here we go with Martell and Destiny. Martell says, you know, he's pretty much how can I say this? Okay, so Martell says the charges that he got are misunderstanding, and Marsau knows that. But how can it be a misunderstanding when the proof was given and it came back as you are hereby found guilty and you are appealing? You know, just like he said that, you know, that what we saw, what wasn't what we saw, even starting from the beginning when it wasn't even this far into the situation, when production asked him about it initially, and he said, oh, it was nothing, it was just a text message that I sent a long time ago. Then I said, well, what about what was in the text message? Wasn't it this, that, and the third? He said, oh yeah, that. Yeah, you know, so he's not going to be truthful. He's not. And I think we all see that. It is what it is. But he says that, you know, that Destiny can believe everything he says. Child. Then we got Marsau and Chris. Marsau says Martell just continues to disrespect, even with Nell calling her a side chick. And then Chris like, yeah, she ain't no side chick. Okay, we all know Nell's not a side chick. We all know that whole situation that stemmed from the interview that Chris's daughter and her mother did on T's YouTube channel. You know, that's hey nephew, if you're listening, watching, listen. Hey nephew. That interview was, he said it was set up by the mother, Chris's ex-wife, because she wanted her daughter to, you know, to give her side of the story and say, yeah, right. You just anyway, another scorned ex trying to embarrass what's going on in the situation because Kristen moved on to something better, in his life and ain't looked back. And, you know, if I'm not mistaken, he filed, right? But anyway, the whole case was Nell was never a side chick, just for anybody wondering. And we can go back and forth in the comments if you want to. But the fact that Chris had moved on, moved out, wasn't actively in that marriage during the time that him and Nell got together. Even Nell was like, what's going on? Well, so pretty much Nell had to have it confirmed with her on paper that they were getting divorced. It was all the way over. Again, there was no active marriage, anything going on other than waiting for the shoe to drop with the judge. So no, she wasn't a side chick because the marriage was over. Now, the decree wasn't signed then, but it doesn't make her a side chick because technically he was still married. No, if Nell was a side chick, that means he was still actively participating in the marriage. That's what all this means. But nevertheless, everybody should have waited till the paperwork was signed before they started calling, you know, each other that we go together. So that was on them. I'll say that for everybody. But anywho, that's what I was saying. Destiny. So here we go with Destiny and Martell. Destiny says that Martell owes Latisha an apology, and we all believe that. But he's pretty much not. He's like, yeah, maybe, but maybe not. Martell says Latisha accepts anything Marsau does. You know, yeah, I mean, is she allowing him not to wear a wedding ring? Debating about, well, people don't know you married. He and Marsau talking about, people do know I'm married. Anyway, what was I saying? So here we go. Marsau is done with Martell's friendship as he's telling Chris, you know, then again, they just keep going back and forth. And then Martell is telling Destiny that, you know, he won't be the bigger person and he will go lower as needed. Oh my goodness, what's lower than what he been? So next we see Melody meeting up with Latricia for lunch. Now this was really sideways. So like I said, Melody meeting up with Latricia for lunch. And, you know, this is pretty much Melody trying to find out some information because of what was announced at St. Martin during their girls' trip, right? That's when Melody found out Latricia had been seeing Martell at the tail end of their marriage. Melody was real quiet during that whole discussion when Stormy, Destiny, and Latricia, mainly Stormy and Latricia, were discussing why Latricia lied about going to his house in the first place. You know, pretty much we all think something happened. Like Kimmi said, when you say nothing happened, nothing can mean something because it all depends on what you mean by nothing. You know, somebody kissing is nothing, but for somebody else it's something. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Kimmi. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it like I wrote it, child, with my notes. So Melody was asking her how she's relating with the group, and Latricia's discovering that there are cliques of certain things with certain people, and she's just, kind of, just being careful. But Latricia did interrupt and say how, she was sorry she didn't say goodbye. The only reason why is because she was mad and upset during that conversation about some things being said that really got her mad and upset, which is why she didn't say goodbye when her and Stormy left the trip early, a day or two early. And I'm like, well, if you wasn't mad at Melody, what you mad at? I don't know. It's just something about Latricia that is real unauthentic, in my opinion. And I think Melody sees it too. Because this whole scene was like a fact-finding, mission for Melody, and pretty much Melody telling Latricia the type of person she thinks she is. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and say what I gotta say, y'all. So Latricia says people made the trip awkward, like I said, and Melody said she helped make it awkward because of the lies that were exposed. Not being truthful with your friends, and just making it seem like you were this when you were that. So Latricia didn't object, but at the same time she didn't give a good rebuttal either. Melody questioned Latricia going to Martell's. Now this part was hilarious. I was hollering. So Melody questioned Latricia about going to Martell's house that time. And I don't even think Melody knows that it happened twice. She just said it's going to his house. And Melody wanted to know which house it was, what color of the house, what time of the year, which kind of driveway was at the house, because Latricia couldn't give any definite answers on either of those questions, because Melody wanted to know around what time in 2020 was you going over there. So Melody, according to Latricia, Melody pinpointed it was, between April, like the first quarter. But because Melody filed in March, if I'm not mistaken. Or did she have the abortion in March? And then anyway, wait, what was it? She had Sugar Mama, and then she found out she was pregnant, and then I think March has I don't know why March is coming up. Either she had the abortion in March, and maybe it all happened at the same time. She filed and had the abortion. Anyway, she meaning Melody kept insinuating that it had to be around April, but Latricia kept saying that, well, it was real chilly outside. It was cold. So they're trying to get the temperature. They're trying to check what season and what. It was so hilarious as Melody trying to figure out when, where, why, where, all these things about when. But like Melody said, why should it matter since you already filed and you was out the marriage? And plus you was doing you, remember? So, but it was just kind of, it was it was kind of weird, but yeah. Melody, she really doesn't appreciate it. And it was just, kind of awkward. So now Melody is trying to insult the girl by saying, well, when you found out, well, all of these conversations going on about you and Martell and working out and whatnot, not what you mean, it didn't seem awkward to you, or that you're trying to train going to somebody's house that you don't know, just trying to, make the girl feel a certain way, because technically she was, trying to meet up with her then husband. Listen, like Melody said, it was many women. It wasn't just Ariane. So it is what it is. Now, the one thing that I agree with Melody on, and this will end in this review, was once Latricia was invited, that's when she should have pulled Melody aside in private and told her, I just want to let you know, I appreciate the invitation. At the same time, I've just found out that even though she didn't find out, she knew then because, Latricia said that Martell was talking to her about his marriage ending back in 2020. I thought it would be, prudent for Latricia to tell Melody at the time she was invited to St. Martin that, towards the end of your marriage, Martell and I met through DMs, for us to work out. And I just wanted, to let you know that. But at the same time, if they're going to just work out, why should it matter that she have to tell Melody because she's being invited? So that's Melody's way of saying, look, I know you was messing with my then husband, soon to be then husband. So I would have appreciated a heads up to let me know who you are since I'm inviting you to this trip. Now that's exactly what Melody was saying, but she said it differently, if you get my drift. But yeah, Melody thought she was slick. But the auntie saw it from a mile away because I said once Melody finds out about Latricia sleeping with her soon-to-be ex-husband then in 2020, she gonna want to find out some more info, and she sure enough did in this episode, y'all. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. I appreciate it. And if you want to go watch it, please do, because it was very entertaining. It was very entertaining. So we'll catch you next time. All right, then. Bye. All day.